moving from a kettlebell to a barbell feels weird, feels like I don't understand what's happening, it makes a lot of sense, right? You would think it's deadlifting, but it's really simple mechanics. And one of the reasons that kettlebell deadlifts are so awesome is because it allows you more freedom to fit you to the exercise instead of having to force yourself to fit the exercise. So with a kettlebell or kettlebells, you can get anywhere you want over the bell. So now you have 100% freedom of where center of gravity is over the midline of you, right? And the next thing is that just like the regular barbell, you have freedom of width of feet, but what's really awesome with the kettlebell is that now you have freedom of your shins and your hips and your links of your lower and upper legs, right? And your hip mobility and your posture. So with a bell, I can find and I can create all sorts of space with my shin angle and with the width of my hips, and not only that, but now I get to create all sorts of custom fun things with where my shoulders and this posture comes in, where this posture comes in, where my hands together in my grip, or with two bells with the neutral position. So the big thing about the bell that makes it so awesome is that there's all this flexibility in making the exercise fit you as an individual, so that I can move from wherever I need to get to the position. And if I have two bells and I want to really get into a lot of load, then I have even more flexibility with what my hands are doing. And now I can get into this, knees go wherever they go, my hinge is back, I'm in my abs, my posture is comfortable, and I can still get my good hinge in, right? Now, most of that falls apart when I move to the barbell, because now I have to work around the implement. And so if I'm looking at the barbell deadlift, imagination station, right? This part of the exercise, you can tell, is already changing, because now my hands have to be in an overhand position, and they have to be outside or ahead of my center line. So before, when you're lifting kettlebells, you can lift bells to the side of you, to the inside of you. We've got a little more freedom of my hands can be anywhere in my center from this direction, right? And I move to a barbell, and now my hands have to stay forward of my center line the entire time, which means now that the load, instead of that load staying with this kettlebell can stay in this center mass, right? Even at the bottom of it, it can stay through my center of the majority of my musculature, right? Now if I take this barbell and I move it, now look where the line of resistance is, right? So now the line of resistance is all ahead of me. So now it takes a whole different, your back has to do considerably more work, your knees have to get out of the way, and now I'm deep into a hinge, and now I'm kind of like, I'm almost in a different exercise. Yes, it's both glute, hip dominant, but you can see where the line of resistance, I think this is gravity, point down, right? So I move to here to here. Now the only reason we would move from kettlebells to a barbell is two reasons. One, I'm in a sport that requires me to lift this implement and I need skill for this implement. Two, I'm just running out of load. So if I get to 200-pound kettlebells and mechanically I can't find enough space to get outside of those the physical space of 200 pounds, or let's say that I get to a point in my strength where I need to lift more than 200 pounds to get that demand, right? If I get strong enough, when I get strong enough, right, and I'm like, I gotta lift 215 pounds, well, I have to move from the bells to get that stimulus, and that's when we need to get to a barbell, because that's the only way I can get to that poundage, that amount of weight, is into this barbell. So you kind of have to take your skill and move it to the next implement when you get to that point. And really what you want to think about is when I move to the barbell deadlift, it just takes, since it's a higher skill lift, it takes way more mental process to go, okay, no, I really have to be dialed in to like, where are my all of my things and my tension. And then you kind of have to start playing around with the width of your feet, the width of your hands, and the position and the relationship of those two things to find what fits my mobility, so that I start fitting my body around the barbell so that I'm getting the best out of my body for it, instead of just thinking there's only one way to do a barbell deadlift, right? So that's why that transition feels funky. It's normal. It's a whole different exercise, right? Even though it's the same pattern, it's not the same thing. Just don't think that it's going to be apples to apples, right? It's going to be apples to like brownies. Apple pie, let's say that. So it's like apples to apple pie, something similar to that. So don't feel weird when you're moving to the deadlift. Just take a little more time to play with your setup when you're moving to the barbell deadlift.